Good evening and welcome to today's seminar on our relationship with our Father. I hope everyone can hear me. Please do just type a yes so I know that you can hear me. So, my seminars are all based on family constellation therapy and how what we carry from the family affects our relationship with our parents. So let's understand first what is family constellation. Family constellation is to do with our family. It's to do with the system. It's to do with our family system, the system to which we belong. So our family system has our parents, their siblings and the siblings' children, our grandparents, their siblings, our great-grandparents, so on and so forth. All of these people form part of our family system. And all these people have experienced a lot of events in their life. A lot of things have taken place in the life of our ancestors who form part of our family system. And our birth is the addition of another chapter in this family history. When we are born, we inherit from our ancestors their traits, their talents, their disposition. We also inherit from our ancestors their fates. It is not uncommon to hear of families where generations of women have breast cancer, or in every generation there is a huge business loss. So whatever is unhealed and unresolved in the events that took place in our family system gets passed on to the future generation as destiny. And we carry this destiny unconsciously and it affects our life. Through family constellation therapy, we go to the root cause of the issue, which remains unresolved and unhealed in the family system. And when we can heal that unresolved issue, we are able to free the present generation from the effects of that, as well as free the future generations to live their life free from the burden of the past. So for example, if a family has gained an unfair advantage or at the cost of someone else, that unfair advantage that the family system has gained could stay in the system as a feeling of guilt, and future generations may carry this guilt, and the effect of that would show up in the losses that they suffer in the business. So it's important to go back to what remained, which was unhealed, heal it so that the future generations can be free of the effect of the events of the past. Today, my seminar is on our relationship with our Father. As I continue with the seminar, feel free to ask your questions and type them out either on Instagram or on the Zoom, and I will try to answer it as we go along. So, our first relationship in life, our first connection is to our mother. It is the most important connection in our life because we are completely dependent on the mother for our support, for our nurturing, and for our very existence, for our survival. When we connect to the mother, we can feel our connection to the father through how the mother holds the father in her own space. The second part of our identity is through our father. Our father presents to us a very different worldview from our mother. Our father sets different limits, and a secure bond with the father leads to an emotional growth for the child. When we are connected to our father emotionally, when we can feel our connection and we feel secure in our connection to our father, we form very healthy boundaries in our life. This means that our connection to our father creates a sense of security and grounding in us, because of which we are able to draw boundaries for ourselves. So, children or young adults or adolescents who tend to get addicted, who tend to go overboard in their compulsions and their addictive behaviors, lack a connection to the father figure in their life. So our boundaries are defined by our father. When our father is missing, he has not disappeared from our life. The child is able to perceive the father psychologically. The child is able to perceive the father psychologically and emotionally through the connection with the mother. How the mother holds the father in her space defines how the child connects to the father. If the mother is grieving the father because the father died young, that is how the child perceives the father. Guys, please mute yourselves. It's very disturbing when you all enter the seminar with your mics on and I can hear background sounds of children crying and all. Radhika, can you please mute yourself? Thank you. A child senses the father in the mother's disappointment if the father left the mother early on in life, maybe got married again, left after the child was born, and the mother is very disappointed. The child can feel the mother's disappointment, and that is how he perceives the father. He senses the father in the mother's rage if the father is brutal or violent. So that is how he holds the father in his own space as an unloving, violent man. He senses the father in her happiness if the mother is loved by the father. So that is how the child gives a place to the father as a loving energy. And that is how his connection is to the father. All the future bondings in our life, our relationship to our friends, to our teachers, to our partners, to our work colleagues, as well as to our business partners and to our own children are defined by our relationship with our father and the quality of the bonding that we have with our father. So our relation with our father is extremely important in how we form our relationships outside of our family. Our place in our society, our place in our community is defined by our connection with our father. We are able to feel ourselves, to find our place in our society, in our social circle, if we are connected to our father. Because our father represents the outside world for us, whereas the mother represents more the nurturing environment inside the house, in the family. The father prepares us for the challenges of life. Unlike the mother, who's very soft and very gentle, the father is a more difficult energy, and he prepares us to face the difficulties of life, which are very important for a balanced upbringing of the child. Whenever we have problems in our relationship with authority, when we have problems in our relationship to our teachers, to our seniors at work, to our bosses. Any problem with authority is a problem in our relationship with our father. When we cannot relate to our father, we cannot relate to an authoritative figure in our life. This is applicable for both men and women. If the father figure is weak and depressed, the child cannot have respect for the father. This can affect how he looks at other relationships in his life. If the father figure was weak and depressed, the child may not dare to live a very happy and joyful life because of his loyalty to his father. They may feel that if they live a better life than their father, they are being disloyal to their father. And because they see the unhappiness of the mother in relation to the father, they dare not live their lives happier than their fathers. The girls dare not have a happier relationship with their partners if they see that the mother does not have a good relationship with the father. If the mother loses the father, either the father dies or leaves the mother, or for whatever reason is not available to the mother, it's possible that out of loyalty, the daughter also will lose her husband at about the same age that the mother lost the father. So maybe she divorces her husband, she separates from him as a unconscious loyalty to her mother. So just like you could not have your husband, I will lose my husband too. This is the loyalty that children have to the family system, and this is an unconscious bond that they share with their parents. If the father is perceived as a weak person, and the girl sees that the mother is not connected to the father, the girl, in her sense of love and pity for this weak and depressed father, may offer herself to her father, and this could lead to an incestuous relationship between the father and daughter. The girl may also judge her mother for not being available for the father and may feel herself to be a better partner for the father because the mother is not emotionally available. If the father dies early, it's important that he be given a place in the family, that his memory kept alive for the children. Even if the mother remarries, it's important that the presence of the father is felt in the family. If the father is completely removed from the family in the way that there are no pictures, there is no talk about him, it's almost as if he didn't exist, the children may feel insecure and unsafe growing up in such an environment. So it's important that the father, even if he is dead, is given a place in the family system. In a divorce, the father will only be willing to take responsibility for the children provided the mother is able to respect the father. If the mother disrespects the father, is unable to hold him in a good place, is unable to look at the good points, the good things that happened in her relationship with this man, she disregards him, she is bitter, she is angry, she disrespects him. Such a man will not be interested in taking care of the children and may not be willing to be part of the upbringing of the children that they have together. In intercultural marriages, it has been seen that if the children follow the father's system, it brings more peace to the family system. So let's look at relationship between fathers and sons. For a son, his relationship, his connection, his bonding to his father is extremely important. Initially, the son needs the mother. When the child is born, his first connection is to the mother, as the mother is important for the nurturing, for the survival of the child. The child can feel the father in how he supports the mother. The father, when he supports the mother emotionally, enables the mother to be there, to be present emotionally and physically for the children. So the father's presence is felt by the child in how he supports the mother in bringing up the children and in being present for the children. When the boys grow up, it's important for them to move out of the sphere of influence of the mothers and to move into the sphere of influence of their fathers. In olden times and in certain traditional cultures, it still exists that there were actually rites of passage for the men, for the boys to move into the world of the men, where they left the sphere of their mother and they moved into the sphere of the father, and they were now considered to be part of the world of men. And then they grew up in that environment under the sphere of influence of the men. And that was important for a boy to turn into a man and to fully accept his own manhood. Boys who grow under the influence of their mothers turn out to be mama's boys, and they can never really be men in a man's world, which means that even when they get married, their relationship to their partner is like their relationship to the mother. They expect from their partner the same nurturing, the same caring, the same unconditional love that they got from their mothers. And these partnerships don't last. So it's important for boys to move into the sphere of influence of their fathers, to be able to completely accept their manhood so that they can be fully present as men for their partners in future. Boys, when they are growing up, if they have fathers who are very pushy, who are very hard on their sons and never acknowledge the accomplishments of their sons, make their sons very hard on themselves, these boys grow up to be extremely self-critical, and they are unable to appreciate their own accomplishments in life. They always play down their own achievements and are unable to take compliments when they do something well, because they are constantly feeling the voice of the criticism of their fathers. Anything they do is never good enough. Perfectionist parents also push their children to an extreme, and these children feel that they can only be valued if they become extremely high achievers. When the father is a perfectionist, the son will never feel that he is able to reach the level of the father. And it's possible that in the process, he gives up and becomes a good for nothing, because he can never achieve that same level of perfection that he perceived that his father has. When fathers are absent, so for example, if a father dies early, if a woman loses a man early on in life, either he leaves her and goes away or he dies, he's absent for whatever reason, the children tend to become substitute for the absent father, so especially the son. The son, even though he may be really small, may even be just a young child, feels like he has to be the little man of the house. He takes on the role of this absent man in his mother's life. And as he grows up, he starts replacing the father more and more in the mother's life. This is an unconscious burden that he carries. And the mother too becomes fully dependent on this son and gives him almost the place of a partner. He becomes a replacement husband for the mother. Such boys, when they grow up, are never able to find good relationships with the opposite sex because the place of the partner is already occupied by the mother. So, any partner who comes into the life of such a man feels there is no place for her because her place is already occupied by the mother. So, it is important that the mother can take responsibility for her own emotional state when she loses a husband and does not put the burden on her children. When the bonding of the father and son is secure, it leads to a good emotional growth in the child. When the parents are unavailable, when fathers are unavailable, the children tend to turn to friends because when the children are not parent oriented, they tend to become peer oriented. So when parents are emotionally or physically unavailable, the child gets oriented to the peers, get oriented to drugs, and drugs may create that symbiotic relationship that the child is missing with the parents. And the child has easier access to drugs rather than to emotionally unavailable parents, and they start becoming addicted to substances to replace or to fill the void of the missing parent. When it comes to father and daughters, for a daughter, the father is the first man in her life. He is the first male in a daughter's life. And her relationship to her father actually becomes a blueprint for all other relationships in her future, especially her relationship with her partners. When a girl, as she grows up, initially again, the girl needs the nurturing, the child needs the nurturing of the mother. She needs the protection of the mother for her survival. At a point, the girl becomes aware of the presence of the father and starts getting influenced by the father's energy. And that happens till a certain age. After which it is important that the girls move back into the mother's sphere of influence. In today's day and age, again in previous times there used to be rituals for girls to move into her womanhood, to take up her femininity completely. Today girls are more influenced by their fathers. They are more likely to be their father's daughters, to be their father's little princesses. And mostly girls are more attached to their fathers and have issues in their relationship with their mother. So girls who grow up to be father's little princesses, to be father's little girls, are unable to form healthy, balanced relationships with their partners. This is because they expect from their partners the same unconditional love that they had from their father. What a father can do for a girl, a partner can never do. And what a partner can do for what a husband can do for the wife, a father cannot do. So it's important that the girls move out of the father's influence and go back into the feminine energy of their mother to fully develop their own femininity, which will help them to have good relationships in future with their partners. How the father perceives the girl, perceives the growing daughter is extremely important for the girl's body image. If she feels that her father loves her, he appreciates her, he finds her beautiful and attractive, she feels a sense of confidence in herself and she feels that she is attractive to other men. If the father is emotionally unavailable, does not connect to the daughter, does not appreciate the daughter, does not give her compliments, does not praise her, she feels rejected and she generalizes this rejection to all other men in her life. So, rejection by the father is equal to self-rejection for the daughter, and she feels herself rejected by every man in her life. She feels unattractive and may perceive herself as ugly, overweight, not good enough. And this can have psychologically a very negative effect on the growing girl. It's possible that if she perceives herself as not good enough because of not receiving attention from her father, she may feel that she's unattractive, she's overweight, and then she may get into a space where she tries to make herself attractive by trying to lose whatever weight that she feels is excess on her body, because of which the father doesn't find her attractive. So such girls tend to become anorexic. They tend to perceive themselves as ugly and try to make themselves attractive for their fathers. Bulimia also is a result of an inability of the girl to accept the father's energy. So if the mother rejects the father and she does not allow the daughter to connect to the father, the daughter will eat because of her love for her mother, and she throws up because of her loyalty, her unconscious loyalty to her father. So a girl's relationship with her father, a balanced relationship with the father, is extremely important in her self-image and how she holds herself and how she relates to other men in her life. If the mother is unavailable for the daughters, then the daughters try to connect with the father. And it is possible that in this connection with the father, because of the non-availability of the mother to the daughter, maybe she is unavailable also to her husband, and this can lead to a physical relationship between the father and the daughter. So it's important that the daughters ultimately connect to their mothers so that they can draw clear boundaries in their relationship to their father, as well as have good relationships to their partners in the future. Okay, I'm going to take some questions here. Does the theory hold true even when both parents are working, that the mother is more nurturing and the father more like a provider? What happens if the roles are reversed? So till a certain age, the mother's role is much bigger, especially in the initial couple of years of the child growing up, because the child's survival depends on the mother. The mother is nursing the child, she's nurturing the child. The child is emotionally, physically, psychologically connected to the mother. So that relation is extremely important. Without this relation, the child will feel lost. He will not grow up normally. His psychological, emotional and physical growth will be affected. So initially it's very important. And the father's role is that of a support to the mother so that she can be emotionally present to the child. So the roles may be reversed later, but initially the child needs the mother. What happens if the roles are reversed? So it is possible that at times the mother is out there, she is the person who is the breadwinner, and the father is a stay-at-home dad. So as long as the child forms the initial connection with the mother, which gives him the security, he gets that initial bonding with the mother, which is important, because the 9 months that he stays in the mother's womb, he is familiar with the mother's energy. And after being born, he needs the continuation of that secure bonding for him to feel his own identity and for him to feel a sense of security. Later, if there is a role reversal, it is okay. As long as the child has a bonding with the mother initially, he is able to bear the separation from the mother and is able to form a secure bonding with the father as well. When a boy moves in the sphere of influence of the father and he sees that this father is abusive or a weaker energy, will the boy now follow in his father's footsteps and become weaker masculinity? When the boy moves into the sphere of influence of the father and he sees that the father's energy is either an abusive energy or a weaker energy, what will happen? So either the boy can become abusive like the father, he can become alcoholic like the father, he can become weak like the father. So the boy is most likely going to imitate the father when he grows up, because he is in the sphere of influence of the father. It's also possible that the mother, if the father is abusive, the mother does not allow the boy to move into the father's sphere of influence. She keeps the boy very close to him, and she in fact creates a fear in the boy about becoming a man, because of she perceives the father's violent energy. She feels the effect of the violence and the abuse of her husband, and she actually creates a fear in her son, and he is unable to express his masculinity fully because of the fear of the mother. So this can create an ambivalence or a confusion in the child, that on the one hand he may not be able to fully express his masculinity, on the other hand the mother may push him towards becoming more sensitive to women, and this may give rise to more femininity in such a boy. So there may be a confusion in him on how to express his masculinity, and he may tend to become more feminine because of the mother's influence. Also, he may be scared of his father because of the influence of the mother on him. What if you were raised by grandparents? Is the father then the grandfather? Oh, you mean does the grandfather become the father? When children are raised by grandparents, whatever is unhealed in the space of the grandparents, the child tends to absorb that. It is possible that the grandparents could not do everything that they wanted for their own children, and then their unfulfilled desires they try to now fulfill with their children. If the grandparents are carrying some trauma of their experiences, the child may absorb the traumas of the grandparent. Also, since the grandparents are naturally going to be older than the parents, they are likely to die earlier than the parents. Once again, when the grandparents die, the child becomes emotionally, he doesn't find, because he is not already attached to the parents, he is attached to the grandparents die early, the child once again becomes emotionally detached and does not know where to anchor himself. Because the child is not attached to the parents, he starts feeling like an orphan and feels that he has lost his anchor and his support in life. So it's important that the children are connected to both parents. even though later they may be brought up by grandparents, the initial bonding, the initial connection to the mother and then to the father is very important for a secure bonding for the child and for security in the child's space. Later, if the child is brought up by a grandparent, it is fine because the child has already created a bonding and an attachment to his own parents. How can the boy move into the sphere of influence of the father if the father is emotionally unavailable? If the father is emotionally unavailable, it is likely that the father's father was also emotionally unavailable to the father, or it's possible that the father lost his own father early on in life. So he never found that connection to his father, and that is why he is unable to connect to his own child. So maybe because there is a void in the father, because of a lack of of receiving love from his own father, that is why he is unable to connect with his child. It is important in such a case that the father heals his own emotional void which he is carrying due to lack of his connection. So we need to go back in the family system and see where is it that there was a break in this connection in the male lineage, for whatever reason that may be. Maybe there was a great grandfather who went to war and never came back. He left behind a son who grew up without a father, and then he too died early, so his child could not get that connection. So it's important to go back into the lineage and to see where the connection was broken, and then bring back that energy so that a link can be restored in the future generations and the father can become emotionally available to his child. So that's the only way to create that bond with the father, by seeing where the connection was broken and creating that bond again with the energy in the past where it was broken. Yes, so for whatever reason the child was raised by the grandfather, if the father was absent, you've written post-divorce at age 4. So where did the father go? Which is the grandfather? Is it the mother's father who brought up the... It's very unclear, Sheena, your question. Anyway, whatever it is, when the child is brought up by the grandfather, the child does perceive the lack of the father in his space. And when the grandfather dies, because the child has not connected to the father, he starts feeling emotionally lost, emotionally disconnected, and then may start connecting to peers, may go into electronic addiction, may go into some other kind of addiction to fill that void that is created by the early death of a grandfather. If the child is dependent on his mother his whole life due to a mental disease, how can you detach him from his mother in order for him to have a healthy relationship with another woman? If a child is dependent on his mother his whole life due to a mental disease, I don't understand that how is this child going to form a healthy relationship, or how is this child expected to have a healthy relationship with another woman because he has a mental issue. So I don't understand this question. How is it that one is expecting that a person who may be now a grown man but with a mental disease, how is he going to form a healthy relationship with another woman if he has a mental disease? So can you please explain this to me? He is schizophrenic and he is 40 years old. Okay. I'm still not sure of your question about how you are. Okay, he's taking medication and he's under control. So it's very important that we go back into the system to see what is it that this child, this person who's now a 40-year-old man, what is he carrying from the system which could be the cause of the schizophrenia. I'm not saying that the schizophrenia will disappear, but I'm saying that he will definitely be able to handle himself better if we can go back into the system to see what happened. So schizophrenia in the system could be a result of a victim perpetrator energy being carried by the same person. That means in the system is the unhealed victim energy and the unhealed perpetrator energy. That can often happen if there has been violence between families which are related to each other. So, for example, violence between the father's family and the father's brother's family, and then someone in the future generation may carry that unhealed victim perpetrator energy, and it's possible that this could show up as schizophrenia. So it's important that we go back into the system first to see where this is coming from. Try to heal it over there, and that will help this person to become more independent, because he is no longer being used by the system to carry this unhealed traumatic energy of the ancestors. So once again, any issue that we see in the father-child relationship, whether it is a father-daughter, whether it is a father-son, whether it is incest between father-daughter, whether it is lack of an emotional connection between the father-son, if the father is physically present but emotionally unavailable, if the father is violent, if the father is a perfectionist, if the father is abusive, it is important to see where is the connection to this abusive energy in the previous generations, because it is not natural for parents to be abusive and violent to their children unless they are acting out of their own emotional voids. So it is important that we go back into the system to find out where is the disconnection, where is this void coming from, who is missing, where is the unhealed anger, the unhealed violence in the system which is being carried by the father and which is now being taken out on this child. So going back into the family system to find the root cause and dealing with that is important also to free the future generations, because if this child is not receiving love from the father, is not able to find an emotional connection with the father, then he will not be able to form an emotional connection in future to his own children. Plus the void could lead to addiction of drugs, may lead to violence, may lead to psychological issues. So we are creating generations of dysfunctional families when we refuse to look into what is it in the system that needs to be healed. So please put out your questions so I can answer them. When a father is depressed, if the father is depressed, if the father is alcoholic, the daughter who may be very connected to the father will end up finding a partner who is an alcoholic or who is depressed. This is because the daughter carries that attachment, that connection to her father, and what she could not complete, what she could not heal for her father, she will now try to heal in her partner as a way of showing her incomplete love for the father by trying to heal the partner. So whatever is incomplete in our relationship with our parents, we try to complete it in our relationship with our partners. So it is important that we heal this relationship. If a person is not ready for any sort of therapy and feels he is well, can we still heal the person? Firstly, it depends on what is your relationship with the person. So for example, if this person is your spouse and it is affecting your life, when you heal how it is affecting your life, this will create a healing in the entire system and hence heal this person you're talking about. If this person is a child who is still not an adult, as a mother, you can definitely take the step of healing this child. And when this, because you will be working with the system, you will be healing the system, and when the system gets healed, the child will get healed. So it is important that you look at how it is affecting you, and then you heal it from that space. That will create a healing for this person. Okay, Ritu, please explain how to acknowledge someone in the family once you know someone was excluded, father or any other member. It is important to give them a place in the system. So, for example, if a father dies early and the mother remarries and there are children from the previous marriage, it's important that the mother talks about the father with the children. She holds the father in a loving way in her heart. Maybe a picture of the father can be kept in the children's room so they know that the father has a place in the family. He has not been completely, thrown out of his memory, has not been completely thrown out of the system. And this makes the children feel very secure in that environment growing up with the mother and the second partner. I hope that answers your question. Okay, I'm just going to take some more questions over here. Okay. How can you help a child to stop seeking the approval of the father? A child who seeks the approval of the parents is obviously never felt approval from the parents, feels that they are not good enough, and this happens when the parents are emotionally unavailable. So once again, when a parent is emotionally unavailable for the child, we need to see what is missing in the parent space. Once you heal that, maybe the child is carrying that unhealed energy of the father. The father never got approval from his father, and that is what the child has got when he tries to connect with his father. He absorbs, because children are like sponges. They absorb everything that is unhealed in the space of the parents. So this child has absorbed this void of the father where there is no approval from his own father. And when we can see where that is coming from, this child will become free from his need for that approval. Okay. What are the possible issues a child could have whose mom has spoken only ill of the father to the child? Of course, a child whose mother has spoken only ill of the father to the child can have physical issues, emotional issues. Firstly, the child wants connection with both parents. Both parents are equally present in the children. When the child is unable to connect with the father because of the mother's disregard or the mother's anger or bitterness towards the father, the child will have a secret loyalty to the father. So externally, the child will behave as the mother wants, but internal loyalty will be to the father. So if the father was an alcoholic, the child may grow up to be an alcoholic. That will be his loyalty to his father. Also, it's possible that this child could, because he's unable, like I said, if it is a girl, there are possibilities of problems of bulimia. So, eating to survive, loyalty to mother; throwing up, loyalty to father. So, I'm taking in because I'm loyal to my mother, I want to live. I'm throwing up because I'm not able to give my father a space in me. So that could be another issue. It's also possible when it comes to physical issues. A lot of times people, when they have half body issues, paralysis in half a body, neuropathy in half body, it is to do with not being able to give a place to one of the parents in their identity, not able to hold a parent with love in their identity because of the influence of the other parent. So the guilt that they carry disallows them from giving place to that parent, and this can create all sorts of physical issues in the child as he grows up. What is the healing process for tomorrow? Yes, the entire healing process for tomorrow is going to be related, of course, to family constellation therapy. So, where we will deal with what you are carrying from the ancestral energy. So, first giving that back to the ancestors, then connection to the father. You may have taken on the father's feelings of being not good enough, of the father's void, the father's lack of connection to his own father, his own self image. So, giving back that to the father, then going into the system, seeing where the connection is broken, creating that connection, and then seeing the healing energy flowing down, and then finally connecting to the father. So, that is going to be the whole process of healing for tomorrow. It's all the family constellation meditations are very powerful processes. They give beautiful internal movements at a level of the soul. So it would be a great idea if you're looking to join tomorrow to make that move and to register. There are questions on the Google form, so please do fill up those questions because that helps me to include those issues in the meditation. How can you heal your relationship with an alcoholic father? Again, the alcohol is a substitute for filling up a void that the father has. This void could be because he lost his own father early. His own father was emotionally unavailable. His own father was abusive or alcoholic. So we need to go back into the system and see where this is coming from. And when you can heal what it is in the system that is coming down, then the relationship with the father could heal. And even if the relationship with the father does not heal, there will be peace in the system because the father is healed, and maybe there is, you can just have a decent connection with the father. Not necessary that you may suddenly start feeling a lot of love, but just being able to acknowledge your relationship with your father, giving him a place of a father, is enough for you to feel the security that you need to be able to move ahead in your own life. Okay. What is the effect of the father's rejection for his baby girl that he wanted to have a boy instead? I know lots of cases like this. Well, this rejection of this gender bias that exists in many cultures, including in the Indian culture, can create a lot of identity issues for the child. So, girls who grow up knowing that the parents desired a boy have lot of issues of identity and issues with their own femininity. They are never able to accept their own femininity. It creates a lot of health issues. They they become people pleaser. So they go out of their way to prove their worth to their parents because they know that the parents wanted a boy and instead a girl has been born. So they feel that they need to prove their worth. So they go out of the way. They are never living their own lives. They are always trying to please their parents. They are always looking out for their parents to the extent that they sacrifice their own happiness. They may not end up marrying. They may end up taking care of the parents in a very old age. And they may also take up very unconventional careers which are very male dominated. So again, to try and prove that they are as good as a boy. So their entire life is actually dominated in their quest to prove their worthiness to their parents and their being able to fill that void of a boy. Of course, there are also health issues. There are issues like PCOD, PCOS, issues with fertility, with giving birth. So all of these other issues also come up with such girls. If a son validates or approves all the negative actions of his father, what could be the psyche of such a son? I'm sorry, Shakila, I don't understand what do you mean by approves. This could be his only way to connect with his father. If I'm understanding your question correctly, the only way that the son can connect with his father is if he becomes exactly like his father. It's almost like he's left with no choice but to become exactly like him. Also, boys who grow up in an environment where the father is violent, where the father is abusive, where the father is an alcoholic, this is their only experience of a man. And for them, in the subconscious space, even though a part of them may reject this completely, at some point or the other in their life, they will resort to this because at a subconscious level, they've absorbed this as the man's natural behavior. So it is going to affect their relationships and how they relate to their own children in future. I still don't understand what you mean by approves of all the negative actions, but I'm presuming that he imitates the father and he actually has no choice. Okay, I'm just going to take one more question and we just have about 4 minutes more. Yes, fathers who keep telling their daughters that you are like a son also has an equal effect because you are not allowing the girl to express her identity, to express her femininity. You are in fact putting the pressure of expecting this child to behave like a boy, which she is not, to behave like a son, which she is not. So the effect is extremely detrimental. They are not able to express their femininity. They don't feel good enough in their skin as a woman. They in fact may even be women who hate women, who look down upon women because they want to be like a son to their own parents. Okay guys, so I'm going to end today's seminar here. Thank you all of you all for logging in. It's very encouraging when I see you all logged in, when you all ask me questions. I'm able to give you all more information. I do hope to see you all at the meditation tomorrow. It's a very powerful healing process. Do join in if you resonated with any of the information that you received here today. Day after tomorrow, I have a couples relationship seminar. I'm again doing it 6 to 7 because I think a lot of people are working and maybe this time works better for them. So we have switched to the 6 to 7 for certain seminars which have a more general appeal. So hope to see you all tomorrow. Do give your feedback, do give your comments, and do share information about the free seminars with people that you know. It's free. More people can benefit, so why not? Thank you so much for logging in and hope to see you all tomorrow. Bye. And your questions, you can send me on my WhatsApp or on my Instagram or email me directly or give me a call. My Instagram handle is @FamilyConstellationIndia. My email is kabraritu.68@gmail.com, and I'm going to just put down my mobile number for somebody who might want to give me a call. So it's 9870367200. Okay guys, so keep in touch and thank you all and have a great evening.
Thank you.